Making headlines tonight. Enforcement notices placed on several homes in the area of Bellevue Plantation. Barbados preparing to launch its first eco-industrial park. The inmate population at Dodds on the decline. And coming up in sports, the first round of the Women's Senior Volleyball League comes to an end with only 5 points separating the top 5 clubs.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. A number of squatters are tonight thinking about their next move after the Planning and Development Department served notices on the structures they are either living in or constructing. Wendy Burke tells us the Enforcement Department, along with the Barbados Police Service, visited Bellevue Plantation this morning.
You've been served with a notice to quit. That's what happened this morning here at Bellevue Plantation, an area which some say isn't Bellevue, but actually Thompson land. But the name at question is not the issue. What is the issue is the illegal construction of over 9 homes on the land, which government wants the residents to quit. It is telling them to remove the houses, remove any building materials, and to return the land to its former state prior to the illegal construction. Failure to do so could result in a fine as high as $200,000 or imprisonment and a fine of $10,000. When the police and officials of the Planning and Development Department arrived, there were no residents in sight. It was only when they were placing the last notice that the officials found someone home. While not speaking on camera, he said he and his partner had been in the area for over 40 years.
This is a spot of land where my parents and my girlfriend's parents have been using and planting for almost as long, if not longer. It has been gully all the time. It has been a wilderness. We just decided that we can build a little small place to rest our heads, and here we are.
A number of those who received notices are also farming alongside the homes. One of them is Melissa, a wife and mother who only agreed to speak off camera.
Why we decided to do it, we come down, a friend bring us, and we see everybody was trying to do something, and we tried to do something for ourselves because I have 2 other children going to school, secondary and primary, and the rent is be so hard for us to pay, especially when my husband is now working. We have to pay rent, we have to take care of the kids, and it's not easy in Barbados. Everything is very expensive, and for the past few years, everything have been so high and everything keep going up, and it's hard, and we're trying to make a living. I am trying to get something that in times to come, my children will have it.
The notice gives the squatters 28 days to contact the department, and some residents who came home before CBC left the area said they would put their heads together to deal with it, as they are only trying to survive. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Many thanks. Barbados is preparing to launch the island's first eco-industrial park later this year. It will be located at the industrial estates at Newton Christchurch, owned by the Barbados Industrial Development Corporation and Export Barbados. This from Minister of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology Davidson Ishmael, who explained what EIP is and how the park will work.
Short. An eco-industrial park, EIP or estate, is a community of manufacturing and service businesses located together on a common property. Member businesses seek enhanced environmental, economic, and social performance through collaboration in managing environmental and resource challenges. The first of these is set to be launched later this year at Newton. And through these facilities, the government intends that a world-class work environment will be manifested throughout the industrial estates.
Minister Ishmael was addressing the opening of the Small Business Association's State of the Sector Conference, which is part of its week of activities. He says the next step in the process is for the assessments to determine the clean energy requirements of the park and how the park's operations can benefit both the tenants and the surrounding communities. Barbados is engaged in a series of meetings recently with the United Nations, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the International Monetary Fund as it presses for increased access to global financing. Prime Minister Mia Motley, who is seen as a global advocate, and a team of financial advisors are currently in New York. Special Envoy to the Prime Minister on Investment and Financial Services, Professor Avinash Prasad, says the international community is aware of the ongoing challenges and is not only listening but has been responding. Professor Prasad was a guest on CBC TV8's Morning Report.
I think everyone's very aware of the climate crisis, and we have two other crises: the cost of living crisis, and I was still recovering from the pandemic crisis. All of these challenges can't be dealt with, addressed by one country on their own. They need international collaboration. And so, we've been working very hard on that. The Prime Minister has been lucky to be seen as a global advocate. Europe has just joined us in a windfall tax on the energy companies. We have been an advocate for something called the Resilience and Sustainability Trust. For every dollar we spend today on building resilience, flood defenses, seawall defenses, better drainage, we save about $6 or $7 in the future.
Professor Prasad stressed the country needs money beforehand rather than after an event so as to invest and create resilience.
That means that when the event does happen, when a hurricane does hit us, that we are much more prepared and our losses are much lower. Remember, when these events happen, it tends to be the poorest people who are the brunt, because they have perhaps the homes built in more precarious places, older, less well-built homes. And so it's very important that we make progress there. And this is a door that's beginning to open, the idea that we need investment, and we need investment now. And so that's very important. We are also here at the same time as we've launched a brand new Debt for Nature swap.
Barbados has formally established diplomatic relations with the Solomon Islands. The foreign ministers of the two countries, Senator Dr. the Most Honorable Jerome Walcott and Jeremiah Manel, signed a joint communique to formalize the relations at the Permanent Mission of Solomon Islands to the United Nations in New York. The communique further strengthens the relationship between Barbados and the Pacific nation. Prior to the formalization of ties, both countries have already engaged through various international bodies such as the UN, the Small Island Developing States Grouping, the Africa, Caribbean and Pacific Group of States, and the Commonwealth. The inmate population at Dodds prison is on the decline, and new initiatives being rolled out to help rehabilitate inmates and reduce the likelihood of them returning to prison. Shane Seeley has that story.
Well, the numbers as far as inmates concerned here at Dodds Prison in St. Philip is on the decline. That's what we are hearing from the acting superintendent of prisons, DeCarlo Payne. And while that's great news for prison officials, the numbers on remand are trending in the opposite direction. And that's all related to some of the criminal activity that we've been seeing playing out in society in recent weeks.
The trends are going down. Basically, it has to do too with this whole issue of persons getting bail, because remember, a lot of persons most of the people in here are remand. In terms of the convicted to remand, the remand numbers are higher than the convicted numbers, so that alone will tell you something. So if the persons who are doing time are going out and they're not coming back, their numbers you will tend to see, that's why you're seeing that dip in their numbers, but you're seeing an increase in the remands.
When Dodds Prison started operations back in 2007, there were around 1,100 inmates. Currently, the prison population stands at 741, with 400 plus prisoners on remand, while just over 300 are serving time for convictions. And with reports of a declining recidivism rate, the prison population could fall even further.
Most of the individuals we're seeing here are people in the age range between 20 and 35, 40. But as people reach that 45, going up in there, they tend to move away from a life of crime, or they do things differently, right? So I believe that's part of why the numbers are going down as well. And you also got to take into consideration that we have non-national inmates here as well. And those inmates, usually when they're released, they're deported. So more than likely they will not, unless they come back here through some illegal means or something, those are individuals that we don't have to be too concerned with in terms of our numbers, right? So that's one of the reasons why they will go down. And then a lot of other individuals, as I said, they're getting skills and they're looking to do other things with their life.
Other things like this aquaponics certification program. 5 inmates and a few members of staff graduated from the course, a partnership with the Maria Holder Trust and the Trust Loans Fund under the guidance of aquaponics trainer Christina Adams. The acting prison boss confirms Dodds will be rolling out more programs to help inmates develop entrepreneurial skills.
At the end of the day, if a person has a skill, they have something to fall back on. If they don't have a skill, they'll be all over the place, all right? So that's one of the things that we are placing emphasis on now in terms of rehabilitative programming.
And it's initiatives like this aquaponics certification program here at the prison that are so critical for inmates, so they are not as dependent on employers when they return into society, but with a little help, they can become entrepreneurs and become meaningful members of the community. I'm Shane Seeley for CBC News.
Thanks, Shane. Some parents are still crying out for assistance with finalizing their back-to-school shopping list. And once more, a local charity has stepped up to help in this regard. Sharon Bellamy Thompson and her charity Fishers of Men took some of the parents to the city for a second time in just as many weeks, as some still needed to get uniforms and stationery. Mrs. Bellamy Thompson says the feedback from parents is that the school supplies are much more expensive this time around, and they come to her when they have nowhere else to turn.
They are very expensive because I was here with some kids last week, and some long pants are $80, and these people have 7 kids and all of that, and you have to outfit them, because I believe in this life that children need a solid education. So you can't put off the kids, you just have to buy despite of the cost, but it's very expensive, the school stuff this time around.
Now, recently, Education Minister Kay McConney announced some allowances for students who were unable to get their uniforms due to delays in the supply chain. Abed's, one of the suppliers of school uniforms and material, admits there have been challenges in getting some supplies for some schools. Store manager Suzette Lane gave an update on the situation.
We have had so much delays in shipping with our back-to-school items, and we still are having delays. As late as next week, some of the fabrics will be in Ireland, and then the following week, another set of fabrics will be in Ireland. So we're hopeful that everything will be wrapped up in another 2 weeks.
A man who had to be coaxed down from the top of a bulk fuel tank in Oistins yesterday is now receiving medical attention and undergoing a psychiatric evaluation. This is according to Acting Communications and Public Affairs Officer in the Barbados Police Service, Inspector Stephen Griffith. He says police are probing the incident, which occurred around 2:30 in the afternoon. Inspector Griffith notes that police, along with the assistance of health officials and family members, talked the man to safety to come down from the tank. 49 new COVID-19 cases were recorded on yesterday from the 399 tests conducted. The cases comprise 9 people under the age of 18 and 40 who are 18 years and older. The number of people in isolation facilities was 30, while 335 were in home isolation. 102,279 COVID-19 cases were recorded since February 2020. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of fully vaccinated people is 154,606. Efforts continue to promote the country more as a film destination. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley sees potential in the move not just with Hollywood. She highlighted to the Barbadian diaspora during a meeting in New York that the island was the location of an episode of the Netflix series Outer Banks.
Ambassador Blackman has been active in trying to get the promotion done also with Bollywood and with Nollywood. So this is, when I leave this job, I'm going to help make movies and make music. And Jerome heard me say so already for the day. And Noel heard me say so. But so this is an area that I feel strongly about, and we will continue to work on.
Staying with film, horror lovers are in for a treat when the first ever local zombie movie premieres next month in time for Halloween. Into the Darkness is the work of local award-winning filmmaker Stockton Miller. The writer and director says the movie will be available in local cinemas from October 28th. Miller admits it was a long, hard journey. He provided some insight on Morning Barbados into the plot of Into the Darkness.
The film is about after a struggling musician, basically, after losing contact with his fiancée during a violent protest. He arms himself to go after her, but quickly realizes his journey will be treacherous as a mysterious outbreak unravels. So basically, he's at home in his studio, doing his thing, and she's out there working, and, trouble happens. So he decides to leave home to go and help her, and things,
turned.
Yeah.
Actor Brandon Blackman says it was an amazing experience being a part of the movie and watching the plot unfold.
Honestly, it has not been the first time myself and Stockton have been working, but I can say this, seeing from how far we came, working on movies like The Land We Call Home, and coming to Into the Darkness, where, as you mentioned, we have a very full, diverse crew with experienced actors and unexperienced actors. It felt like a breath of fresh air because you see the process, you saw where Stockton came from, and to just be there with him alongside the way and alongside the process, it truly was a blessing, honestly.
Sports time now. We head over to the sports studio and say a very good evening to Anne-Marie Burke.
Good evening to you, Shane, and to all our viewers. Now, defending champions UWI Blackbirds were stunned by Phoenix Security Services Carlton when the Goddard Enterprises Limited Division 1 Volleyball League season continued last night at the Wildy Gym. Blackbirds losing to Carlton at 20-25, 25-21, 18-25, 23-25, 13-15 to end the first round on 24 points and leading the table with just 2 defeats. Meanwhile, Carlton will start the second round on 19 points and IBN 4th place after that win last night. In the other matches, Club United remain winless after Warrens handed them their 7th straight defeat at 25-13, 23-25, 14-25, 26-24, 15-11. As CBC's Damien Best reports, there were also wins for Deacons and Burger King Clapham Toners.
Ladies night, Deacons in green taking on Development Volleyball in motion. Good dig in the middle of the court, keeping the play alive. Placement was superb in the end. Point to Deacons. DVM had a different remedy. The left-hand dump beats the lone blocker. Smart move. But this was one-way traffic. Deacons directing the flow, snapping up the first 2 sets, 25-16, 25-22. Decent rally going. DVM's resistance broken with both blockers not able to keep this one out. Third set, DVM serving. Deacons go to the outside hitter and it's dealt with. This one slipping away quickly from DVM. Another free ball for Deacons to go to work. This time it's a short set and the backcourt not ready. Point to Deacons. Indeed, the girls in green going on to take this matchup in 3 straight, winning the third, 25-14. Second match featuring Chargers against Toners in red. That's an ace for Toners to start proceedings. Well, Chargers, they had a few opportunities to assert some pressure on the Toners defense, but they lacked the firepower. Outside hitter, needing more muscle. And Toners making it look easy, securing the first set, 25-12. Change of ends. Toners in hurry-up mode in the second. Serve again causing some issues for Chargers. Middle blocker. On this play, it was good to see someone actually willing to rise above the net and lay down the law. Ashley Jordan and Ashley Marshall displaying their abilities. Very next point, the libero was targeted. And a little swerve on the serve. And Toners get the point they deserve. Well, that's enough rhyming. Toners going on to win this one in 3 straight. No child's play. 25-12, 25-11, 25-12. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
In tonight's Yes Business Report, it's all about National Youth Week, which officially gets rolling from Sunday, September 25th. Ryan Broom has more.
Get ready for National Youth Week from September 25th to October 2nd. Being sponsored by the Division of Youth. The theme for the week is Acknowledging Excellence, Inspiring Youth. Manager of Yes, Ryan Mosley, gives some details.
On Sunday, the September 25th, we start with the National Youth Service. This takes place at the Bellevue Gymnasium, and this is where multiple faith-based organizations will be represented. We are privileged to have the President of Barbados in attendance, and we are inviting all persons, and the service will be live streamed through CBC, and we're asking all persons to take part in this service.
And now to tell us what's happening on Monday, September 26th, is Youth Program Consultant Adriana Waith.
We would have the Youth Open Day, which will be hosted at Oyston's Bay Gardens, and this event begins at 10:30 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m. This day would allow the personnel here at the Division of Youth to share the different activities and programs that we have to offer, and hopefully we can have some persons registering and enrolling in our programs that are, yet to come in the year. It would also allow us to showcase the talent that we would have found within our programs here at the division or outside of the programs, and we just want to recognize the talent, may that be through dance, singing, spoken word. We just anticipate a really, really, really good day at the Oyston's Bay Garden. The following day, we would have, on the 27th of September, we would have the Youth Volunteer Day. So this day is basically where we at the Division of Youth Affairs allow the youth organizations and groups within across the island of Barbados, where they show what they would have done throughout the year, their civic-minded behavior, the selfless acts to the communities in which they operate in. And we always encourage persons to be selfless, so we found that we need to find a day within the calendar to highlight the good work that our young people are doing.
The focus then shifts on Wednesday, September 28th.
The employability section within the division will be hosting an employability workshop. The focus of this workshop would be on the areas of agriculture and the blue economy, and this is where young persons will be given an opportunity to conduct research into potential job opportunities within these two emerging areas. So where the session is open to young people between the ages of 18 and 25, and this session will take place at the Hilton Hotel.
Then on Thursday, September 29th, technology takes center stage.
Our social media takeover. We know that young people are really, really into social media. It's very effective with regards to getting messages over. So we are using the platform basically to allow youth leaders to highlight some issues that are undermining youth development and to share some possible solutions to set issues that they will be discussing over a podcast.
Friday the 30th of September brings a different focus.
We'll be having a youth parliament debate with our national youth parliamentarians, and they'll be debating the topic education reform in Barbados. The debate actually takes place in the House of Assembly.
For the Saturday, which is the 1st of October, we will have our Youth and Talent Expo. This will be hosted at Sky Mall within the parameters of the mall. We would have at least 25 entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. They'll be displaying their various products and services. They're all amazing. We'll also have some face paintings, some mascots for the young ones so they could come and engage. We also have a modeling show. So regardless of your age or your interest, I'm sure that we will have something in the mall within all of our displays that would basically entice you.
The week culminates with what we term Battle of the Sexes, and this is where the social interaction among staff will be encouraged. This year the venue will be the Desmond Haynes Pavilion in Holders Hill. As is customary, we're going to have the netball match between the males and the females. We're also going to have a cricket match between staff of the ministry and the Ipswich Cricket Club.
And that will be a commemorative match in memory of a much-loved ministry official. And road tennis will also be among the other games being played. Now, the week of activities will precede the National Youth Awards, which has now been rescheduled for Saturday, November 12th. For the S Business Report, I'm Ryan Broom.
Government will soon be rolling out changes to how it manages its procurement process. Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ryan Strawn, made the disclosure as he addressed a virtual conference. The minister pointed out that the Public Procurement Act passed in Parliament and the new measures will be coming in the latter half of the year to provide greater transparency in managing the procurement process in government and state-owned enterprises. He stressed there was nothing inherently bad about the current process, but the changes were necessary to ensure that all available opportunities were made known. Time for the second half in sports. Now we head back on over to the sports studio with Anne-Marie.
Well, some not so good news as the volleyball fraternity is in mourning at the passing of the national youth team coach Patrick Oxley. Coach Oxley, 49, passed away today after a short illness. He was the brother of former Barbados captain Elwin Oxley and the father of national player Akil Oxley. The officers and members of the Barbados Volleyball Association extend their deepest sympathies to the families and friends of Oxley and also of former Division I player Anthony Trotman of the Wellows Pirates, a retired teacher of the Princess Margaret Secondary who died yesterday. As a mark of respect, tomorrow's volleyball fixtures have been postponed. Now, Australia today beat India by 4 wickets in the first T20 International of their 3-match series in Mohali. Putting to bat Hardik Pandya, 71 not out, and KR Rahul, 55, smashed half-centuries to help India reach 208 for 6 in their 20 overs. Cameron Green's blistering innings, coupled with Matthew Wade's unbeaten 45 off 21 balls, helped the Kangaroos to race the victory 4 balls to spare. Nathan Ellis claimed 3 for 30 and Josh Hazelwood 2 for 39. In reply, Australia made light work of the target with 211 for 6 in 19.2 overs. Cameron Green with 61 and Matthew Wade 45 not out were the major contributors. Aksar Patel took 3 for 17.
That's our news. Good night and be good. Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.